Well, because you talk towards me, so I don't want it to be in front of you.
It's not.
Okay. Oh my God. This is going to be so bad. Oh, man.
Oh, shit.
We just got to get into it. This is going to be so funny. Oh, shit. Ow.
I'm trying to.
Okay. All right. We're just going to dive in. What's up, everybody?
Hi, welcome back.
Okay. Episode 36. But don't get crazy because we don't know how long the episode's going to be.
This is going to be a little shorty short.
That's what we say now, and then it'd be like 2 hours, and I'd be like, don't cut, this is gold. So, as you can see, I look swollen. I look like I had got attacked by a bunch of bees. I look like, do you remember Macaulay Culkin was in that movie, My Girl? Do you remember that? It might be before your time. Anybody that's my age, he got stung. Okay, spoiler alert. In case you want to watch My Girl. My Girl was from like the late 80s. Anyway, he got stung by a bunch of bees and he dies. That's what I look like. And I never really watched it when it came out because I was like, it's like a love story. Oh, shit.
I'm so sorry. I'm just trying so hard not to laugh.
Oh my gosh.
I spent all this time doing my makeup and I'm literally just sobbing. It's so funny. It's not funny.
Oh my god. Oh. Maybe I'll just do one take. This whole episode is just gonna be like an uncut episode.
You have to leave this. Oh man.
Anyway.
You're just going to hear me laughing. And for those of you who only listen to the podcast on Apple
Apple butter.
For those of you who listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we also live stream the episodes and we put them on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and you find our PDX's page, we don't
live stream them, but we do record the audio and video so I can put on YouTube because
you don't have to be technical. Okay.
Some people really like just listening, which is cool. I like being able to watch because I think it's just so funny.
I'm hurting, man.
So I look like I got stung by a bunch of bees.
Do you want to tell them why?
So I had jaw surgery like 10 days ago. I had it planned for like 6 months, I think back in May. But it's something I wanted to get done my whole life. So I have a lot of saliva, so please be patient with me. I have to swallow all the time. It's stupid. I look like... Okay, this is a side tangent.
I'm so sorry. I just keep laughing like this.
Okay, there was a movie. There was a comic book and then a movie called Dick Tracy. And all the people in the show, they're like crazy looking, right? So they'd have like a guy with a big ass brow and they call him like the brow. And then they'd have like this one guy baby face, but he had a big head with a tiny face. So like, it was just so funny. But I feel like I'm a bad guy on one of that. I didn't even know what they call me. They call me Sting. Oh my god.
I'm gonna piss myself.
Oh shit! Could you give me a paper towel? Because Anytime my face gets crazy, I get a nosebleed. Yeah, but then my first name would be like Brendan, so I'd go by Beast. Oh fuck. Okay.
How long have you been holding all? So you've
These
holding
are all
these
these are all
in, like-
new. I haven't thought about this before.
Yeah, but you've been holding all this energy in for 10 days.
Yeah. So basically, a couple things happened. I got Invisalign to straighten out my teeth. When I was at work, my job gave us a credit, like $2,000 or something, towards Invisalign or braces. So I was like, well, shit, I'll just straighten my teeth. It was during COVID, so everyone's wearing masks. So they're like, not that people care about Invisalign, but like, I was like, well, this is a plus. So I did Invisalign for 4 years, like 3.5 years. And then my stupid dentist just quit. She's like, well, I'm all done because I'm in downtown Portland and downtown Portland sucks. And I'm like, well, what do I do about my Invisalign? She's like, I don't know. Just find somebody else. Find somebody else and they'll just take it over. And I'm like, okay. So I basically was wearing the same trays for like 6 months. And we went to a dentist down the street. And the guy was like, well, we got a place on orthodontist we'll refer you to. So I met with them. And they basically were like, look, your teeth are straight, but because your bite is fucked up, your teeth don't hit normally. So I have an underbite, so my bottom teeth would stick out. And my teeth would only hit in like 2 spots when I close. And so those teeth would just wear down until like there's nothing. Bitch, one time when I was at work, I saw this guy and his teeth were like, it looked like he was like, took sandpaper and just went like that. Like, and you could like see like in his teeth. And I was like, damn, your teeth look fucked up. So I'm thinking about like that guy, and I'm like, I don't want my teeth to like wear down to those little like big beans, So then I met with the surgeon, and the surgeon was really great, and she basically was like, you should get this done, you should get this done. But also I have sleep apnea, so I use a CPAP. So she's like, well, we can fix the teeth, but also with sleep apnea, like getting your jaw moved forward is going to free up a lot of space behind your throat, I guess.
Nice.
So yeah, so I'm like, okay. But whenever I get sick or allergies, I get congested so bad, so quick. And over the summer, I had strep, mono, COVID. I also had a sinus infection. And that shit sucked. And there was a time where like I couldn't breathe out of my nose for like weeks. So like right now. So I finally decided to do the surgery. We scheduled it back in like May. And I finally got it done. But it's probably like some of the most brutal shit you could go through.
This right now?
Yeah. Well, not like today, but like
The
the
surgery,
post surgery. And everybody's like, oh my God, I watched videos on YouTube. It looks so crazy. Oh, did you watch videos? First of all, I would rather watch shit after, but I don't want to know what they're going to do. I have like a fantasy of what they're doing in my head. But like, I don't know.
It's like a bippity boppity boop.
Yeah, it's like fucking Wizard of Oz. Like, I don't know. So, yeah, so I didn't really know much about it. But pre-surgery, I had to get all these buttons put on. I'm going to show you. So, I have them on almost all of my teeth. I got these put on all the tops and the bottom. And then Alexa and I went out to get ramen.
Okay, yeah. We went out to go get ramen.
Mm-hmm.
Kinboshi ramen used to be Marukan ramen. It's wonderful. Please don't blow up my fucking spot to where I have to go there and wait in a super long line.
Oh, yeah.
We love it there. We were sitting and we were eating cute little brother-sister lunch, which people don't know we're brother and sister, even though we reference it quite often. We're
biological.
blood. Oh, my God. Have we ever told that story?
I don't know if we did.
Someone remind us if we've told you guys the story at Ryan's wedding where our dad said our biological mom.
Our mom died in 2010 from breast cancer. And then Greg and I got married, I don't even know, 3 years ago? 2, but we got married in April, so it's coming up. But my dad was giving a speech, and he brought his new wife with him, who
Against all of our wishes.
yeah, which was very problematic. She was nice, but she was very problematic. But then there's a lot of story there, but we're not going to go into it. But when he was giving this speech, he's like, "Oh yeah, I also have a twin brother. If you watch the podcast, you know I look like him now." Yeah,
He said, I wish your biological mother could be here.
yeah, and everyone was like, like, well, duh, but also like, nobody thinks that your new wife
Is our mom.
is our mom. Like, nobody got introduced to her. Like, you think I'd be like, oh, hey, here's my dad and my brother and my sister. And they're like, well, who's that chick? I'll be like, oh, this is my mother. You know what I mean? It's just so stupid. So we just laughed about it afterwards. And I don't know what he's thinking, because he's obviously in a tough spot, right? Where he's like, well, I'm here with this new lady. But the fact that he had to go like, their biological mother, which is so funny. So we make that joke all the time now. That's a saliva.
So we're at lunch. We're sitting right across from each other. And all of a sudden, you just like spit out. You just went blow up. And it was one of the fucking buttons from that you had just had put on.
Like an hour before.
But they didn't give you a disc. They weren't like, whatever you do, don't, it wasn't like Legally Blonde where they're like, don't shower after the perm. They're like,
yeah, at risk of deactivating the thermal hydrogenate? Ammonium.
That's not right.
Sluglockland. Sorry, everybody. I just had surgery. Yeah, I was like, wait, what the fuck? Now, these little buttons are for rubber bands after surgery, and them shit's supposed to be on your teeth for a while. Now, like, the lady, I think, tried to do a good job, obviously, but it was the top molar. She either didn't get enough of the paste to activate it, or didn't get the light on it enough, or whatever, but that one came off. And then I was like, messing with my tongue on this one, and then that shit came off, and I was like, what the fuck?
We weren't feeling very confident.
So I texted them, and they got me back in to get the buttons put on. But they're super annoying because, so your mouth doesn't have a lot going on. It's like a library, right? When something stands out in a library, it's like, oh my God, do you see that guy over there smells like piss? Or that guy over there like talking really loud, like, excuse me, sir, this is a library. Not a lot of stuff goes on here, so everyone's paying attention to small things. That's what it's like in your mouth. So when I got all these put in, they don't look sharp, but they feel sharp. And your cheeks are just like super mad, like for like 3 weeks. And then, so it's like, the way I describe it is like, there's a guy in your brain, right? And the main guy. And then this guy comes to me and goes, sir, I just wanted to inform you that there's all these buttons in his mouth. And he's like, okay, thanks. Thanks for telling me. Just keep putting your tongue on it and keep touching them all the time. And then like 3 weeks goes by and I go, sir, I just wanted to let you know that there's buttons in the mouth. She's like, get the fuck out of here. You told me already, okay? Don't tell me any more about the buttons. Because then you don't feel them after a while. Your body just is like, it's like, whatever. Then I had to get more buttons put on the front of my teeth.
And that was like a day or two before surgery.
Yeah.
You had to go back a couple days before to get the front ones.
And
what is it? It's 2. It's like 4. Yeah. It's 2 and 2.
So normally they just get buttons put on right before surgery, but because they have to make all these tools and plates and things for the surgery, they want you to get the buttons put on ahead of time, which makes sense. They actually like, I don't know, they have like a lab or whatever, and they make all the metal pieces that stay in my body. And then also the pieces that help them do all the cuts and all that stuff too. So there's like a lot of things. Okay, so then I had all these buttons put in, and then I got my surgery on Thursday. So we go to the hospital. Well, I just shave. So
Yeah, talk about the night before.
This is my no beard. I was really hoping I wouldn't have to shave, but the surgeon was like, "We're gonna put all this stuff on your face. It's not very sanitary." She's like, "Unless there's a religious reason," and I was like, "Oh God, no. I wish I, whatever one makes me not have to shave my face."
That answer.
Yeah, because I haven't shaved in like since like 2000. I mean, I've had this beard for so long. I mean, I've shaved the sides down, but
Right.
like usually keep the goatee.
But it was the night before. You couldn't eat after like 10.
Midnight, and then I could have. They say now that having a Gatorade at like 4 in the morning helps you not be nauseous. So I don't know who disobeyed the doctor's orders, because they're like no food or water after midnight, and then some people must be like, well, I had a Gatorade, and they're like, okay, and they're like, so I guess you get really nauseous. But yeah, so I shaved, and it's just like getting ready. It's just like it's like super weird. So the next day I go in for surgery. It took a couple hours for them to get me checked in. I met with everybody.
Well, we get there. I show up. We end up having this lady kind of stop us. We park in the parking garage.
Oh, yeah.
And this lady kind of waves us down. And she's like, hey, do you guys know where the main entrance for the hospital is? And we basically had notes written down from the surgeon where they were like, turn left at this statue and park in this garage and walk over. And so we're like, we kind of think it's around the corner.
Your guess is as good as ours. We don't know.
So we go in, we get checked in. We have to walk through security.
Yep.
And then we check in, and I'm there just for show.
Mm-hmm.
So I told Ryan, hey, if it can only be you and Greg there, like I'll go home, but I just want to be there to support, like no stress, but I'm gonna be there just in case.
Right.
So they're at the window going over all the things, emergency contacts. I'm sitting at a bench behind them. And then there's a woman next to them, and don't know what language it was, but she's using a translator. And so I'm just kind of observing everything. And so we're there, and me and Greg are obviously really nervous, but we can't let Ryan know how nervous we are. And one of the people come out, and they call Ryan's name, and then they call this lady's name, and she gets up, she walks over with the translator. And then when she called Ryan's name, Ryan gets up, and then we're like, oh, hey, can we come with? And she was like, oh, yeah, of course. Like, yeah, you guys come on. So the translator looks at this. I would say grandma, right?
Yeah.
Translator looks at grandma, and what I would assume would say, hey, they can come with you if you want, because their family is coming with. So if you want your family to come with, and grandma goes, no.
It's so funny. They're just like, and you could tell that it was like the dad and the son, and they're probably like stupid idiots.
But just the fact that I'm just observing the context, the body language, and she just goes, no.
Yeah. So like, so we go in, they do all the check-in stuff, and it's really funny because they're going over all my medication, and they're like, do you take this? Do you take this? Do you take this? And I was like, no. And I was trying to stop taking a lot of my medication because I knew I was going to have surgery, and then I didn't want to take all that stuff. Like, I have a couple, my doctor was like, don't take these because they're not good for like bone growth. So she's going through everything, like getting me all checked and whatever. And then you have to try to pee right before surgery. And I asked because I kind of felt like I was going to have to take a poop at some point. You know what I mean? Not urgently, but I was like,
Oh, shit.
But I was like, I asked the guy he was like the assistant. I was like, okay, I don't have to go poop right now, but I feel like during the surgery time, I might have to go. What happens? He's like, well, if you go, we just clean it up, and we probably don't even tell you about it. And I was like, dang. I was like, that happened. He goes, yeah, you're out, right? Apparently they call it a code brown. They go, you got a code brown, and then they clean you up, which I think is hilarious, right?
So, what if it's not really called the code brown? They just tell you that just to make you happy.
Yeah. So
give you a little joy before
so I was like,
surgery.
all right. And then fast forward to after the surgery, when the guy came in, one of the things I was like, did I poop? He was like, no. I was like, okay, that's all that I care about.
Well, that's like when, when moms give birth. A
Oh yeah,
majority
they
of the
say a
time
lot
they
of times
poop,
you
yeah.
poo. My friend was a nurse, and he said the turds would just fly across the room because there's so much pushing, and you're probably not eating like
Right, of course.
these big meals, but he said one time it just shot across the room. I was like, that's crazy. Um,
But you get checked in.
yeah,
You're
so
allowed to have one guest.
yeah, Greg and Alexa kept coming in and switching out, but then there's a lot of shit they got to do, and the room's really tiny. But then they eventually let them both come in. Um, I went pee, I came back, and then they like wheel me off into
Yeah, but we
surgery.
got to meet your surgeons.
Oh yeah, my surgeon came in. The
So
other
the
assistant.
the woman the anesthesiologist came in, the nurse was there. There was another, I want to say like intake nurse or whoever's the nurse is like during the surgery. And then jaw surgeon came in. But when they came in, they're like, well, she's prepping. We don't know if she's going to be able to come visit. And I can't remember that's what it was. So anesthesiologist comes in and Ryan is under no medication. Like they haven't given him anything for stress. It's not like he's partially loopy. He just wants to ask these fucking dumb questions.
No, I'm just like really curious, and I think
He's in it for the
funny.
joke.
Yeah.
He's in it for the joke. All right. So then he's talking to the anesthesiologist. She's asking questions and she's like, have you didn't eat after midnight? And you go, no. And she goes, you had a solid meal? And he goes, yes, I had Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And she goes, that's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Don't know if I would qualify that as a solid meal. And then we all start laughing. And then a couple minutes later, the surgeon comes in and she's like, oh, and she was lovely. She came over, she touched Ryan's leg and she's like, oh, it's so nice to see you. Hi guys, nice to see you. And he's like, oh, Greg, you met Greg. And he's like, this is my little sister. She has the normal jaw. And I smile and I go like, tink. And she goes, oh no, she has a crossbite. And I go, what? And then she just deadpan goes back to Ryan. Okay, we got surgery. This and I'm literally just sitting there just like, huh? Like my jaw is dry. I'm just kind of like, what the fuck? And I look at Greg and Greg doesn't really catch it. And I'm just like, did this woman just fucking clock me?
Yeah, because she was immediately like, I always just meant because Alexa has a normal bite. And I did it. So I was like, oh, I'm going to look like her. And she was like, just totally clocked her. And I think that's just surgeon humor. It was very dry. It was just so funny.
Mm-hmm. Well, she mentioned that because of her job, her husband, she says he'll meet people. And in his head, he goes, wow, that'd just be a quick 15-minute surgery if you wanted to get that fixed.
I'm sure that happens a lot, too, when you're in a medical profession. Mm-hmm. You're just especially, people always go, why did this celebrity get plastic surgery? They probably met some dude who was like, hey, bitch, just come in. I'll get this shit stretched out, in and out one day. I did this celebrity and this celebrity and this, they look great. And you're like, oh, yeah. And they have a really good sales pitch. And then fast forward a month and you're at the fucking VMAs and you look like a fucking me.
Oh
you know what I mean? And they're like I have so much respect for people getting any plastic surgery or any face shit because the recovery for it is insane. Now, jaw stuff is worse, but your face swells up so much, it's insane.
Well, do you remember anything from the surgery? You just remember getting taken back?
They said they were going to wake me up after because it's jaw surgery, they can't put a breathing tube. They have to go through the nose. And so they were like, well, we can't just pull the tube out. We need you to be awake. So we're going to wake you up. Then when you're awake, we're going to pull the tube out. So you might remember that. I didn't remember that shit. That shit would have been crazy. So I must have woken up and they're like, hey, are you good? And I'm like, yep. And they're like, what?
Oh my gosh. Well, when you were doing your intake, they asked us, they're like, oh, do you guys want text messages during the surgery? And I'm like,
oh yeah.
What? So they text us and oh, bitch, let's rewind for a fucking minute. So when you go in to get checked in, I'm just, again, like I mentioned before, happy to be there along for the ride. I can go home. I live 10 minutes from this hospital. I go to walk in to the, I go to walk in the waiting room and there's this one really pretty girl sitting, a couple chairs in. She's on her phone. And then I'm just like, okay, cool, like me and her. But it just was an overwhelming, like dirty hair smell. It just was like weird, like left, like old laundry. Just it was just not a good smell, right? So I'm like, that's kind of weird. But I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm here for my brother. So I walk around a set of chairs, and there is this fucking, I can't even say kid because I have to imagine he's older than me.
Yeah.
I swear. And he literally is sitting with his legs kicked out in a V on the floor, no shoes, socks only,
Wow.
doing a fucking puzzle on the ground. And so I immediately like freeze and take a couple steps backwards because I know I can't walk around to the chair I want to sit at now because he's like on the floor. So I go and I'm just like sitting there and I feel like I can just hear the clock go like, Gucci, Gucci, Gucci. And I look at the clock. It's been fucking 5 minutes. It's been 5 minutes and I am just suffocating in this just fucking horrible BO, gross, dirty boy smell. And so I'm just, I'm like, all right, I'm here for my brother. I love my brother. I'm just saying this mantra over and over again so I'm not the little bitch who leaves. And this nurse walks by and you just kind of catch her through one doorway. And then as you see her through the second doorway, she stops and kind of backs up and she leans her head in and she's like, hi, how are you? And she's talking to this kid and she's like, well, I would say she's talking to this adult.
Yeah.
And she's like, why don't you do that on the table? And he goes, what table? And he like kind of leans around this little wall because there's a little cutout. And she's like, that table. And he goes, oh, well, I didn't think that the table would be big enough for the puzzle. And she goes, I need you to do it on the table because the floor is disgusting. And so then she basically does a mic drop and then she leaves.
That's
And
so
this,
gross.
no, that's not even it. And this fucking adult takes all the puzzle pieces and like puts them back in the box, which turned out to be a fucking community waiting room puzzle, right? So he throws all the puzzle pieces back in the box and then just puts the box back with the other one and then just sits on the chair like this. It's like 3 or 4 chairs next to me. Shoes still off, by the way. Shoes still off.
You should have been like, oh, I'll do it. And you should have just went and got the puzzle and just, oh, you're finished?
It was so bad. And then there was another counterpart there. And I can't really like dog anyone because it's surgery. So anyone listening to this podcast is going to be like, they were in there for emergency heart surgery for their kid.
Like, mine was planned, but you never know. It could have been like, oh, this guy got in a car accident.
Well,
or
waiting rooms
whatever,
are
but,
savage. They don't really. I don't know. I think doctors or nurses or whoever are just immune to the people being around.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because the woman who was sitting there, her boyfriend comes in. I can kind of hear them kiki a little bit. Where I'm sure they were talking about the foul smell of the waiting room.
Like,
and his doctor comes in. Well, doctor comes in and he's like, so and so, and he's like, yeah, that's my dad. So he comes over and they're probably 5 chairs away from me, and he's like, all right, so I'm your dad's surgeon, and we're gonna do a double bypass, maybe triple if we can get in there. And he's going over all this stuff, and I just wanted to be like, I'm not listening. Like,
yeah,
I'm not, pretend I'm not here.
Yeah, I've tuned out.
Talking about how they're gonna, heart, they have to like, your heart can't be going, so they have to like have something plugged into it so your heart beats outside of it because they're doing the bypass, gonna try and do a third bypass. And I'm just listening to this and they're like risk of, death and this and this. And I'm just like,
wow, that's crazy.
So then Greg comes in while you're in your surgery and they text us and they're like, patient's doing great. Patient's been checked in. So we have a little bit of like a record.
Right.
And they have this code. So they have this TV. It kind of made us feel like we were at the airport. And so this sweet volunteer, old man comes over and he's like, hey, who's your doctor? And then we tell him the doctor and they're like, oh, what's the last name of the patient? And so he goes, well, we got this TV up there and you see the doctor's name and this and this. You got 3 different little zones. Well, bitch, about fucking hour and a half, your name disappears.
Oh,
and I look at Greg and I go, he's not up there anymore. He's not in surgery. He's not in finishing. He's not in calm room or whatever the other one was. And so I go, Greg, what's going on? And I'm trying not to gaslight your husband while you're in surgery under anesthesia. So he gets up and he's standing outside the board with like hands on his hips. Guy comes over and he's like, well, what's going on? And so then guy goes away, comes back, your name's back on the board. And we were like, all right.
It's just like deceased.
Oh my God. And so we went and had a really cute breakfast burrito. It's weird just to be in a hospital because it's just sure babies are being born, but like also a lot of, bad shit is happening and people are having to go through a lot of emotions. And I don't know why they have to do your surgery in the fucking basement.
I mean, surgeries are gotta be like cold. It's gotta be cold in there. It's gotta be like they don't need no windows,
That's
know. So like it's not that they're like cutting into my fucking jaw. And they're like, oh, what bird is that? You know what I mean? So, but they gave me this gown that they hook up to like it looks like the thing you vacuum your car out with.
The
So,
hose.
but it like pumps hot air into your
Scrub.
your gown. So you stay warm. They said that when you're warm, it's better for recovery and stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, so I don't remember anything. They took me into the room. They had to scooch me from whatever the bed I was in to the operating table.
I want to know about the transfer back. That's what I'm curious about.
I don't remember. I just remember waking up. Well, I'll get to the waking up in just a second. But all I remember before is just I'm in there, I'm looking around, they got pictures of my face. They showed me all the stuff beforehand of what they're gonna do. But yeah, there must have been like 15 people, and I was gonna be like, oh my God, thank you all for waking up this morning to be here for me. Like I just feel guilty that all these people like woke up,
right?
Just to do my face surgery. But then they put a mask on my face. And that's you just breathe, and then I was like, bloop, I was out.
Yeah, because that's the only time you get medication. Yeah, they just knock your ass out.
But I don't know if the mask does like oxygen or laughing gas or something to kind of calm you initially, and then they hit you with the stuff.
Nope.
Or they do it at the same time.
She specifically said, she goes, we give you a little bit of oxygen, and she goes, then we knock you out, and she goes, that's the only time we give you medication.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So we get the text that you're out of surgery. Me and Greg are just kind of waiting around, and we can see you because there's the doors right across from the waiting room. So when the door flaps open, we can see you.
Okay.
And so we're just waiting, and then finally, they wheel you out, and I had no idea like what was going on. I didn't I thought you were gonna have like raw meat on your face.
Oh yeah.
I thought you were gonna be so gross, and so they wheel you out. And we're just basically going to your room. And like the one thing I don't know is like, why can't we invest the slightest amount in chairs that aren't fucking horribly uncomfortable?
Oh yeah.
Like, can I just have a chair with no armrest?
Yeah.
Like, what am I, a houseless person at a bus stop? You got to do the little slanted bench?
I don't know why they do that. I wonder if it's like to keep people from laying down or like.
God forbid you're comfortable while you're waiting for your partner to get surgery. But they wheel you into this other room. They finally like back you in, scoot you in. And I just wanted to like see how you were doing. And you seemed okay, but I also remember that you were on an incredible amount of medication.
No, they gave me fentanyl, so like watch out downtown Portland.
That was what you said when they're like getting ready to put you in the room. You're like, I got fentanyl. Yeah. And Greg goes, they give you that? And you go, yes, they did.
Yeah, that's what it's for. That's why it exists.
That's its intended use.
Yeah. But when I woke up from surgery,
they said it would take you about an hour.
Like an hour.
No, it took an hour. It was 90 minutes.
Well, it took longer because my room wasn't ready. So it took a while for me to kind of wake up. But they had ice packs on my face. They had ice pack on my chin. And I'm claustrophobic. So I was like, after a while, I was like, okay, I need to get the ice pack off my eyes. So I stood on my eyes. And I was like, I need to get these blankets off me. This bitch had like 5 blankets. They had a big ass blanket and another blanket. So I was like, I'm hot. So she took like all the blankets off. And then I was just laying there. And I get really apologetic because I don't like people waiting on me.
Well, that's what happens when you grow up in a traumatic household.
Yeah, so I'm like, right,
how dare you care about? I'm sorry you have to care about me.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry you're getting paid to care.
Yeah.
About me.
Also, I'm not apologetic that you're taking the time to listen to me talk about my surgery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, just rest, relax, we're fine. And then they just kind of took me into the room, and so I felt amazing afterwards. Not just because the anesthesia and the drugs they gave me, But I thought I was gonna come out and like feel like somebody hit me in the face with a frying pan. You know, I just thought I'd be like, oh, like, but so you have nerves here and here, like these big nerve bundles. And anytime they fuck with your face, it basically, I don't know what happens, but all the nerves either die or they go like, ugh, and they just stop. If you get lower jaw surgery, and they move your jaw forward, it pulls on these things, and you could potentially lose feeling in your jaw forever.
Yikes.
Yeah. But we're in the room, and I'm just like hanging out, and I'm just like, I have an iPad with movies and stuff, and then you guys were hanging out. My surgery got done at like noon. I think I got into the room like 1:30,
It was
2
like 2,
o'clock.
yeah.
And I could breathe so good. Like, my nose breathing game was 100%. And she told me, she's like, you're going to wake up. You're going to feel great. You're not going to be congested. She's like, day 2, it's going to get worse with the congestion. Day 3 is going to be really bad.
Lies.
It was pretty accurate. The face swelling was not horrible. It was a little shitty the first day, but it got really bad like day 3. And so they used lab-grown bones. So my upper jaw, they cut into 3 pieces. So it's like right here. So they scooch this part forward. And then the side pieces, they kind of had to like angle or something. They had to do some shit with those, scooch them out. But when they do that, they leave gaps that they got to fill in. So when they do cut the jaw, there are bones that they kind of have to cut anyway, just to like make it flush. So they save that, but it's sometimes not enough to put in all the little gaps. So they use lab-grown bones. And Greg was looking it up, and I guess they grow them in like a hamster's uterus from China. So,
oh my gosh.
I didn't really look into it too much because I don't really give a shit, but I just thought that was pretty cool. But when they do that, it's a foreign material, and so your body just kind of goes like, what the fuck?
It wants to fight it.
Yeah, so day 5 or day 6 were like the worst. There was like no more room to swell. Like it swelled all the way up into my eyes, my cheeks, my chin. I got this like crazy bruise underneath my chin.
The bruise is gnarly. Big blood bruise.
They also did a thing with my chin. So they cut out, I'm showing you on camera, but they cut out a little square in my chin, and then they pull that forward, and they have a bracket like a square. And what that does is it pulls on the tongue muscle for sleep apnea. So when you go to sleep, your tongue and throat muscle kind of relax, and that'll close off your windpipe. So this is supposed to kind of keep it tight. But yeah, my chin was really swollen from that. It wasn't really numb, thank God. But yeah, but every time I swallow, I could hear like a clicking sound up here. I could feel something clicking. It was really weird.
And when he says brackets, he literally means brackets, like from Home Depot.
So they have these custom things made, and they saw all this off, right? So they need stuff on both sides. It looks like a little spider web. They're just all in here. So right now, this is still pretty puffy. My lip is puffy, and I can't really feel it. I can feel a little bit.
Well, we thought the bruising under your eyes, we thought that was from where they went in for your nose.
No.
And we're like, wow, you look like you got punched in the face. Like you have such bad bruising. Well, no, it turns out that's where the brackets are in his skull.
She's like, well, it goes all the way up here. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
So he has brackets that basically go up and touch your eyelids.
Yeah.
But the surgeon came in afterwards, and she
came in the next day. Yeah, she was really nice. She was just kind of like checking in on me. She said I was doing really good. I tried to be a good patient. I tried to like thank everybody and like not be a dick.
Oh, well, when you got moved in, you couldn't talk, so we had to look up kind of like
what
app
it hurt
to use.
Really hard. It hurt a lot to talk, and everything was swollen. So yeah, Greg and Alexa looked up an app so I could just type shit out.
It was pretty funny.
Would talk, yeah, because I was just like over, and I'm drinking like through a syringe with a tube, and I'm putting it like in the back of my molars to try to like drink, because it's just so shitty. And then I have my jaw banded shut. So they make these squares. I thought it would be like singular, top to bottom, but they make a square out of 4 brackets. And then they make a thing in the front. And then I have these splints in my mouth, so I talk crazy. Well, that's a lot of things.
What if we go back and listen to this and you're just like, oh, hey, ha, 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 and you like, we can't hear anything.
Oh, yeah.
But because I've been around you, I can understand what you've been saying.
Maybe we'll listen to the audio transcript.
Yeah.
So I have 2 splints. In the inside of my mouth, under all my teeth, I have like a plastic thing that's wired around like 4 or 5 teeth. That's to make sure my top teeth don't collapse in. Because there's a lot of pressure and everything, so they want to make sure everything that they moved and cut stays in one spot, which is cool. And then I have another one that kind of clips into that my bottom teeth sit in. So when I open my mouth, my teeth aren't in it. And when I close my mouth, my teeth are sitting in this pre-made. It's like 2 Invisalign trays stuck together. So basically the thought is, when my mouth is closed, the bands keep my jaw shut, and my teeth all rest in these trays. It's to keep everything kind of situated while you're healing. Because if I didn't have these bands, my jaw would be like, just like hanging out, and they don't want any of that. I did ask my surgeon why they don't wire jaw shut anymore, and she just said that there's a lot of technology with the splints and all this stuff that they don't need to do wiring shut anymore. She says sometimes people do it, but she's like, there's just not a lot of reason to wire people's jaws shut anymore. I couldn't do it if they wired my jaw shut. I'm too claustrophobic. That freaked me out. Like, what happens if you puke? You go, okay, well, I'll just swallow it. You know what I mean? Like, we're like, no way. No.
Yikes.
So the nurses are really nice. They come and give me pain meds every 4 hours. Like 9 o'clock, the night nurse guy comes in. He was really funny. He was kind of like a younger guy. He's like, all right, I got some meds for you. And I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, I have Adderall, 20 milligrams of Adderall. And I was like, okay. He's like, well, I'm supposed to give this to you. I'm like, and I was like, no, because I'm like weaned off of that. Because I'm trying to take all my prescriptions or whatever. And he was like, well, they must have put it on here. So the lady that was checking me in put on there that I needed to take my Adderall. But I was like, dude, no, I got to go to sleep. And I go, do you want to sit in here with me all night if I take Adderall so I have someone to talk to? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's insane.
Look, if I'm sick or like I'm not going to be doing anything, like there's no point to take Adderall. I needed to focus and like do stuff. But it was just so funny. He was like, okay, yeah, that's probably a good idea. Because it's not up to him. He was just, somebody ordered it.
Right.
And then the next morning they're like, okay, well, we have we have some Adderall for you to take. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going to pass on the Adderall because I just want to sleep. That's all I want to do. I just want to sleep. I don't have to do anything. But I do find that to be very funny that it just was like 2 different nurses were trying to give me fucking Adderall right after my surgery. So I stayed overnight. I got to go home the next day. It was pretty easy. And then it just got shittier and shittier and shittier. So like day 5, I was like, oh God, this is like so shitty. If I would have started off being shitty the whole time, I'd have been like, okay, this is fine. But because I was like, okay, and it got worse and worse and worse, it just felt backwards.
Right.
Yeah, Greg did a really good job taking care of me. He was like making me smoothies, but I didn't really want to eat or drink anything.
You didn't need anything. There was nothing we could do.
I was having a lot of these boosts, just like, they also have muscle milk, but like, they give me these boosts. Hi, when you just need a boost. When you're a little tired and you just need a little boost. So I have a lot of those. Ramen broth. I'm getting a curry. But it's really hard to eat with the splint in. So I went in a couple days ago for my 1-week post-op. And my surgeon was like, do you want the good news or the bad news? And I was like, oh, the bad news. And she's like, so we did a CT scan. So I did a CT scan when I got to the surgeon's office. You sit in a chair and this thing goes around you. She's like, the piece that we cut off for your chin has detached. And I was like, okay, cool. So it's basically, she said, because I have a really strong neck, I guess, or strong tongue muscle, she said it just probably pulled it out of the bracket. And it's a little square. So 2 up here on my attached skull, right? And then 2 pieces would be on or 2 screws would go on the piece that got cut off. So yeah, that got detached and it's just like sitting right here. Like it's like floating in my chin.
You can feel it.
I think I can feel it, but also like I don't really know.
Yeah, you're gonna.
But you could see it in the scam. She was like, usually I have one patient a year where something fails, and she's like, it's always like the nicest person. So I got to go in for another jaw surgery in 5 weeks.
Jesus Christ.
So annoying. And I'm like, I'm not doing shit. Like the doctor said that one time this person had a hamburger like at 4 weeks.
3 weeks in.
Yeah, because
3 weeks
the
in, they
first
ate a
couple weeks you're like shitty, but then you start feeling really good, and you have to wear all your bands and stuff. But I think you get to a point where you're like, well, I'm doing okay, but the problem is that everything gets held with screws and these brackets, and if anything happens, like in this case where this popped out, you got to get surgery again. And so I had asked her, I go, what happens when like somebody eats a cheeseburger or whatever? And she goes, we have to have like immediate surgery. She's like, we got to go in right away because all of this shit in your mouth will basically get infected, it'll get ruined, or it'll cause more damage. So I'm like, all right. So in my case, they could go in now and fix the chin, but the top jaw, that was the good news. She said the top jaw looks fine. So she doesn't want to go in and do anything where it's going to mess up, mess up my top jaw. Mm-hmm. Because if I fuck that up, I got to get another surgery to fix that. And I don't want to do that. We also don't want to wait too long because I have a floating piece of bone just hanging out in my chin. So that's cool. The excuse me. I guess
I have to pee.
Oh, you can go pee real quick. I'm gonna have a boost. Oh no, you gotta hold it like how they do the commercial with it. They don't hold it like this. Everyone always holds it like this for some reason. Go. But you need a boost. I actually like this flavor. It's called Very Vanilla. I do like the muscle milks and stuff, but man, all this shit sucks.
So you want a
I feel like you have something on your lip.
It's probably chocolate.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's unfortunate that chocolate is the same color as poop. You know what I mean? Because they both have similar, like, textures and consistencies and smearing. You know what I mean?
Bitch.
No, it's like, if I smeared avocado on my pants, you go, oh, that's avocado. But if I smell chocolate on my pants, it's a 50-50. Is that poop or chocolate? And it always defaults to poop. It's nobody's first thought to go, did you sit in a cake? You know what I mean? Oh, you must have sat in cake. No, I shit my pants.
Well, that's in a movie. There's a mom and she goes, is this chocolate or poop?
Oh, that's funny.
So the nurse goes, all right, we're just going to bring you your menu. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, Greg and I are going to get a little sandwich. Maybe we get like some little food. And then Greg goes, he had jaw surgery. He's supposed to have all liquids.
Oh,
and they were like,
bummer.
oh. And for no fault of their own, right? I'm not saying this to dog the nurse, but in my head, I was like, oh, I'm going to get a fucking sandwich.
I know.
I was like, this is going to be delicious.
When my mom was in the hospital, like last week in the hospital, I was hanging out with her a lot, and I was just like, bitch, can you get me a fucking burrito? But they like track everything, so you can't get extra stuff. But there's a couple times where I'm like, just order more shit. I'll eat it.
Order 3 pudding packs.
Yeah, like what the fuck does it care? You're dying of breast cancer. Like it's, But I always remember that every time she'd get food, I was like, like I wanted her to eat, but I would just
Right.
be like, "Are you gonna have that applesauce?
Are you gonna finish
'Cause
that?
I'll eat it for you."
Oh,
So when I
shit.
was in the hospital, I had to pee, and that shit was crazy because Greg had to help me, and I was like a little dizzy, and um, they have like the little cup with the handle on it. You know what I mean? Like it looks like a little skinny pitcher, you know?
Oh, like a little watering can.
Yeah, it's got a big hole on the top.
Or no,
So
it's like the bottles that you get like lawn seed in.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, but like
shake
but like
and go.
narrow. So I stand up to pee, and anytime anything crazy happens, I get a bloody nose because like it's just all connected. They sawed right there, or whatever. Oh yeah, they also burned off these parts of my nose that were sticking out a little bit. So when you breathe in, you have these little like coils or like these little angled parts so that warms up the air before it goes into your lungs. Because if the air is cold and breathe it in, it's just cold air. So you have these like little tunnel things that the air kind of goes in. Anyway, they burn those off for me. So I'm peeing. I'm in my gown. Greg's like holding this thing that for my wiener. Then I start getting a nosebleed. And I like kind of have to pee, but not really. But like I just needed to pee. And like, and he kept talking to me, and I'm kind of pee shy. So I'm just like, bloody no. It was like so funny. It's just like, oh my God.
Do you want to tell them about your sock puppets?
Oh yeah, I did a sock puppet out of my sock. Just because right before Greg left. It was pretty funny because I was pretty out of it, but I was just like pretending I was talking to him. It spawned because I took my sock off and then I did a puppet, and then Greg was talking to me, and I was like, because I was doing the hand puppet stuff, and he started, like, I would talk to him with a hand puppet, and then he'd talk to me, and I was like, excuse me, I'm right here. Why are you talking to him?
And then he also did it with a throw up bag.
Oh yeah, I had a green throw-up bag, so I did that, and I made him Spanish. So I was like, "Hola!"
Ryan.
It was so funny, but like it hurts to laugh because of all the stuff. So like we were laughing, but I was just like, "Oh my God, like stop! What am I doing?" Um, yeah. So a lot of swelling still. I still sound like this.
A lot of liquid medications.
Yep, liquid stuff. I just have been able to kind of transition to pills, but the problem is because I have the splints, like there's a little piece on the inside. So like if you think about like your teeth, if you had a plastic strip that went all the way around the inside, but there was like a little bit towards the back that was open, it's like a toilet seat, like a public toilet seat. But like,
You don't have to say public toilet seat.
well, a public toilet seat, I don't know if it's for girls, but they have the cutout in the front so
Yeah.
the pee-pee and the vagina don't touch it.
Yeah.
But the home toilet seats don't have that because it's just you. So that's like what I have. So when I swallow, my tongue doesn't, like, it can't hit the whole throat. You know what I mean? Or the top of my mouth to go in the throat. It's just the back part. So when I was doing pills, like, I have to put the pill in through my little hole, through the rubber bands, and I have to get it, like, on my tongue. Then I have to drink water, and I have to, like, make it slide down the back of my throat. Because if I miss, I'll gag, or like if it goes into the side of my, you know what I mean? It's like, it's awful. And then I'm going to say like, so my doctor's like, no choking, no chewing. We did go to Cheesecake Factory the other day, and I had some mac and cheese, but they used shells. And I thought regular mac and cheese is like goop, you know? Cheesecake Factory mac and cheese. I was assuming it was going to be like the shit you get in the cafeteria. So I'd just be like, just swallow it, right? But that shit was shells. And so I had like, I was just like, had like 5, but they weren't like breaking down in my mouth.
Right.
And there's this guy on Instagram and TikTok who swallows all of his food. I don't know if you've seen it. It's so funny. But he'll eat like a potato and be like, bleh. like a fucking like a goat or whatever. It's so funny. He doesn't. He like there's like 2 bites and he swallows shit. And he's famous, so like whatever. Uh, so yeah, and now I got this other surgery coming up, so that's great. And the other surgery is going to be a little bit better because I think it's just going to be a soft food diet. I'm on a liquid smoothie diet right now. I could have mashed potatoes and eggs and stuff, but it's so annoying. I can take the top splint is wired in, but the middle splint I can take out. But I have to take off all my rubber bands. I have to take the splint out. My jaw is still really sore, so it hurts to move. And then, like 2 days ago, I had to put my rubber bands back on, and that I wanted to die. I called Lex. I was crying. It was
so sad,
so awful because the surgeon said I have tiny, tiny teeth, and so I have to get not the back molar, but the one in front and the one in front of that. I have to make a square, but they cut all up here. So on the inside of my lip, I'm not going to show you, but on the inside of my lip, and when I go like this, there's these huge cuts with stitches and stuff. So to change the rubber band, I have to pull this up, which irritates all of this shit, which irritates everything. And then I got to like use my fingers to like get a rubber band on this tiny ass little thing. And I have to make a square, so I have to get it on one and then get it on another one. And then I have to close my mouth and then I have to somehow get the rubber band onto another one and then pull the other one. And like, I was in so much pain. I just was like, didn't know what to do. Because I took all this shit off. I've done the front ones, because the front ones I go bloop, bloop. It's like super easy. But with the back ones, it was like so painful.
Yikes.
And I was just like, I have a pretty good pain tolerance, but like that shit, it felt like I was sticking my fingers in an open wound. Like it hurt so bad. So I was having a very not great evening.
It was a
I
whole
called,
day.
yeah, I was just like, oh my God.
Because you found out the same day that your surgery, you have to go back.
Yeah,
and then
Greg
you're at
was
home tonight just trying to, that same night,
trying
trying to
do
put the
these
rubber bands on.
and like, it's just so disheartening to go like, okay, so I was like, okay, 5 weeks. 5 weeks till I can eat some fucking cheeseburgers and some pizza. And then it was like, nope, sorry. Like, you got to do another surgery. I mean, I've already lost some weight, so the losing of the weight is good. I've eaten a lot of garbage food, so I can go without. But I love chips. I love crunchy foods.
Yeah. Ryan's been updating on his Instagram every day. He's been doing a video, and I was howling last night, laughing so hard because go find his Instagram. You can find mine too. Mine's private as of right now.
But I said that I really wanted a Jack in the Box onion rings.
But there was the desperation in your voice. You said, I want something crunchy so bad that I would eat Jack in the Box onion rings. And you go, the really crunchy ones.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'll eat them if they were overcooked.
Yeah. Well, I said, do you know when you get onion rings at Jack in the Box and they make you wait and you feel like you're just waiting like a little bit extra too long, and then they give you the onion rings and you go, oh, I know why you made me wait extra. It's because you fucking forgot about them. And that's why they taste like glass. I worked at a fucking Carl's Jr. This shit happened 20 years ago. I worked at a Carl's Jr. one time, and this lady came in. She was a nice older lady, probably in her like 60s. But it looked like she might work at like a librarian or an animal hospital. Like, she just looked really nice. She came in and got a burger and fried zucchini. They do fried zucchini at Carl's Jr. We didn't do it that often, but I was the one that rang her up. Oh no, I was working the drive-thru window. And so I gave her food and she had to go wait because it takes like 5 minutes to make the zucchini. Well, I don't remember how long it had been, but they didn't tell me that the zucchini was done. And I just like turned around and I was like, oh shit, this lady's zucchini's been sitting here for I don't know how fucking long. I hope it was just for like 5 minutes, but like it could have been 20. Like, right. I don't remember what happened. So I walked it out. I was like, I'm so sorry about the wait. I think about this bitch at least once a week.
Oh,
Just
man,
when
that's
when like
great.
somebody forgets something, I go, "You forgot that lady's fucking fried zucchini at Carl's Jr. in like 2001." um, yeah, and so I hope I can get maybe a day in between my surgery where I can just go on like a little like crunchy slut eating day. But it takes
Trail mix, corn nuts, Doritos,
no, just yeah, just
onion
corn nuts.
rings.
I was thinking about what I want, and I don't love corn dogs, but I like corn dogs. But I think corn dog sounds really good, like nachos. Um,
Oh, the second day you called
oh
me
yeah,
and you go, I Matador nachos.
yeah,
Sounds
just
so good.
and it's interesting because if you put shit in your mouth and you wait long enough, your saliva breaks it down. But like the problem is if you can't chew anything, so your normal response is chew, 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 and then the tongue goes, "I got it," and your tongue swallows it, right? So the tongue doesn't just want to swallow on its own. He's like the guy that shoots the ball, right? Everyone's dribbling it and rebounds, and then they give it to the tongue, and he's like, "Down the throat, bitch." But it just doesn't want to do that on its own. You know what I mean? So when I try to take a pill, then I'm just like, okay, swallow it.
You're
Just
like a
like,
puppy. You gotta like.
I have to like drink water. If I put a pill and I was like, just swallow, my tongue is like, what the fuck are we doing? So if
This is the right order of operation.
yeah, like Greg today, he was like, he got Little Big Burger. He got some fries. He's like, do you want like a tiny piece of fry? And I'm like, sure, but like also no, because I don't want to choke.
Right.
And then what? So, yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully the swelling starts to go down in my face. But we wanted to film because I sounded worse. I sounded crazy after surgery because everything was so tired and it hurt. I just was like, I must be talk like this. Everything was like so small and I had all this extra saliva, so it was just everything was like this. And then Greg was like, how come everything ends with a downward inflection? Because I'd be like, oh, I just don't know if I want any more Gatorade. I don't think I need another boost. He's like, well, how come you keep doing the downward inflection? I'm like, because my mouth hurts and it's tired.
Because that's my
like-
mouth being sad.
Yeah, everything's fucked up. So then I started teasing him. So I'll be like, can I get another boost? I think I'm gonna go to the bathroom. So I just started changing my inflection. It's so funny. Oh my god.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, face surgery is weird. Jaw surgery is weird. Greg was really mad that I have to get more surgery.
Yeah.
But like, who do you get mad at? You know what I mean? Like, he's like, well, maybe the surgeon didn't do a good job, or maybe the bracket wasn't right. Now they are gonna do a bigger bracket, so instead of the square, it's gonna be like all over here. So they're gonna like bolt that shit in several places.
Yikes.
But you know, it's like it's not anyone's fault really.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
It
like
happens.
that shit happens, and like they probably should have known that I'm a big guy, and you know,
have good throat
this
game.
throat game is so good. You know, hey bitch, I suck mean cock, so you might want to back up that bracket with a couple extra like ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk.
Yeah, get some extra Gorilla Glue in there.
Oh, I can't remember. I don't know if you were in the room, but the check-in lady asked me something about like swallowing, or I don't know. She said something, and I was like, I turned it into a sexual thing that nobody got except for Greg because he was very embarrassed. But yeah, I was just somehow turned it. I can't remember if Greg was here. I could ask him,
Yikes.
but I think that's it. Is there anything else?
What would you say to anyone who would be curious about getting the surgery?
Well, the first week sucks, but the first week sucks of any surgery. I had umbilical hernia surgery. That shit sucked. Because I had to poop, but you don't have to poop, but you have to poop. But then I'm sitting on the toilet, and then like this is your belly button's connected to everything. So I'm just like, oh God, like, and getting up hurts and going to bed.
That's funny because you're basically describing what it's like to have a period and how bad that hurts.
Yeah, it's probably the same.
Don't clock me in medical terms, but like, it feels like your butthole hurts. Like, it feels like your butthole hurts.
I couldn't imagine.
I imagine it's just sandwiched in there together. Mm-hmm.
I had shoulder surgery, and that was like, I think that was like a 3-month recovery or 4-month. That one was long because I do physical therapy. If you're supposed to get physical therapy, you should do it. Because if you don't get all the motion. I got almost all the motion back, but like I need to stretch my shoulder out more. But that shit sucked because I was in a fucking brace and it had to like stick out. And so I had to shower with one arm. Yuck. I also didn't have a CPAP at the time, so I was like snoring because you have to sleep sitting up. But for the most part, I think if you need it and you have a good surgeon, like I said, go for it. But there's risks that go with the surgery. I had a friend that had just gone through it, but he had braces, so it's a little different for braces. But
one thing I would say is if you have someone in your life who wants to do surgery, partner, friend, whatever, ultimately it's their decision. You know what I mean? Right. So I think the thing that was the most important for me while you were getting ready for this surgery was just me not trying to gaslight you or talk more about it or talk about failed surgeries.
Yeah.
I think if you or anyone close to, like, if someone close to you is going to get surgery, like, keep the weird little funny jokey remark things to yourself.
Right.
You know, if you had a friend that one time did it, but then this happened and this happened, like, you might think that that's a cute little fun moment when in reality, like, you could really be freaking someone out.
Yeah. I would tell people, like, I don't want to hear about your friend, your uncle. I want to hear about any shit, any horror stories. I don't need to know. And people can be worried, but I just felt like if I didn't get it done, my teeth weren't gonna wear right, and then I'd just be paying like $5,000 to get these teeth fixed.
Right.
And for the sleep apnea benefits, hopefully I won't have to use the CPAP, or if I do the CPAP, the pressure won't have to be as crazy. So I do like sleep with a CPAP, but if I don't need one, then that's also a win.
Right.
So it was kind of like, initially I was kind of more concerned about the teeth. And then when they did the sleep apnea stuff, I was like, okay, well, that's just a nice thing because it covers multiple things. If you need a sleep study, you snore a lot, get a fucking sleep study.
Yeah, please do it.
Get a CPAP. It's the best.
Because what you don't realize is that you're tired all the time. Ex-boyfriend I lived in San Diego with. And you don't get to argue with someone about whether or not you snore.
I hate that. I just think that people are like, you snore. And I'd be like, no, I don't. And then I'm like, well, I'm not awake.
Right.
Like, you can't be snoring and awake at the same time. So, yeah, if somebody's like, yo, I'm concerned about your safety and life, because it goes like,
you're choking, yeah. If you know
and
anyone.
your body goes, ugh. That was hard. My brother would do it. I'm like, so you're like getting choked to death every like 10 minutes.
Right.
And with sleep apnea, it can be a mental thing or physical thing. So sometimes your brain just shuts stuff off where you snore. And then sometimes, like in my case, when I get sleepy, all these muscles relax and it closes off my windpipe. So the CPAP pushes air into your nose or mouth and it kind of blows through that opening. So I got 5.5. Oh, yeah. One last thing I want to say. So it was like day 5. And I got my surgery at 8:30 in the morning. I got done at like noon, 1 o'clock. My surgeon said that day 5 is going to be like the worst day. I'm like, okay, I just got to make it to day 5. I just got to make it to. So I'm like, okay, Greg, it's day 5. And he goes, well, actually, it's day 4 because your surgery was at 8:30 and got done at noon. So if we go from Thursday to today, it's technically day 4. And I was like, babe,
trying so hard just to stay alive.
This I need mentally to know that it's the fifth day because it technically was the fifth day, but he's going off of hours. I basically had to just be like, please let me have this, please. Every time he'd give me soup, he'd be like, ugh. He'd be like, I don't like it, but here you go. And I'm just like, babe, like, can't you just be like, this soup is so delicious.
Right.
You're going
Like
to love
what you
it.
do for a little kid, you're like, this is delicious.
Oh my God, I wish I was having some of that soup. You know what I mean? But he's just so like honest because he doesn't understand. He's like, well, I'm just telling you how I feel. And I'm like, I get that, but I need to know that the car we're in is not small. The car we're in is large and very spacious. I need to know that my surgery's going to go okay and the food I'm eating is okay. So I just...
You need to be babied a little bit, you know.
I want
coddled
the
just a little bit.
illusion, you know, because I'll eat it and go, oh, this soup sucks. And then you can go, oh, yeah, I thought it was kind of shitty. It's like people that are going to be like, hey, we're going to go see a movie. And I'm like, what did you see? And they're like, blah, blah, blah. And inside I go, oh, the movie's fucking awful. They go, oh, cool. Yeah, I heard it was good. Have a good time. You know what I mean? Because then they go into it feeling good. I don't want to be like, yeah, that movie fucking sucks. Or what restaurant are you going to? Oh, I'm going to this one. And be like, oh, I hated it there. It's so gross. You know what I mean? Like, I want people to, like, make up their mind. But, like, I just found it really funny because I'd tell Greg, like, I don't want to be eating this soup right now or fucking bone broth or whatever. But if I could just feel like it's not, like, eating garbage, that would be great. I had a cup noodle just to pack it in hot water, and I just drank it one time before bed. I had a hot mug, and I was like, sip, 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 sip. No noodles, because I was blending up noodles, but it makes it too thick.
Yeah, you're just making paste.
Yeah, and
Put up
Greg's
your
like,
wallpaper with
yeah,
it.
he's like, I'm doing like 5 cups of water. Because I'm like, I don't need all the noodles. But that shit got old really fast. I'm doing smoothies. Just everything gets old. And now I just have 5 more weeks.
Plus another 6.
Yeah. But I think once the lips stop hurting, I'll be able to take my bands and splint out more often.
Yeah, we said you have the RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star lips.
Yeah, they're going down a little bit. I need to get a little replenish. But yeah, my top lip is numb and it's super swollen. Mm-hmm. It is going to be sticking out a little bit more, but yeah, it's probably not going to be super noticeable. But yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I just been playing Grand Theft Auto and like watching movies and stuff. Modern Family, which is really funny. If you have any questions about the Josh surgery, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, you have about 11 or 12 weeks.
Yeah,
So just downtime.
I kind of totaled it up, and I was like, is it going to be 3 months?
Yeah,
You know, like
just about.
3 fucking months of soft
You
food.
wanted to do this. Oh, that was also another thing was after you got the second buttons put on, you were like, my mouth hurts.
Yeah.
My chew.
It's
Just
so
like-
painful.
You're like, oh, I have all of these. You're like, all of my buttons on my teeth hurt. I'm like, buckle up, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, buckle up, because this is nothing.
It only got shittier. But now that everything's numb up here, I don't feel the bone stuff because it's all numb. So thank God that that's numb because
Right.
like that shit would be like horrible. Like just everything to be like completely detached and they did film it. I asked them if they filmed it. They did film it. So I might watch it when I'm all healed up just to see. But man, that shit. They say that you're just like, once they saw this off, your whole jaw goes bloop. So they say like when that happens, they're like, people go like, oh God. Like apparently it's super gross.
Yuck.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I wanted them to film it just so I had the option and maybe one day I'll watch it. But I'm hoping that, I'm hoping I don't do anything to my top jaw to fuck that up. So I'm being very careful.
Like talking for 2 hours on a podcast.
I know.
I'm just watching your rubber bands like, hold strong, little
I
buddies.
I know. It's actually a lot better because, like, after the first couple of days in talking, I just was like, oh, fuck, this hurts so bad just to talk. But I'm also, like, bored and, like, lonely. I mean, Greg's here, so we hang out. But it's like different when it's like recovery, loneliness. You're just like, I can't go out and just do whatever.
Right.
I can't just like call people. So it's like, but then again, I did this to myself.
Yes, you did.
But yeah,
Your
Greg's
nose
always.
is bleeding.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Anytime I do anything crazy, my nose bleeds.
Well, we learned a lot today.
Yeah. Well, we learned a lot today. Hold on, I'm gonna say it one more time with me not itching my eye.
I know, but I think it'd be funny
Yeah.
if I said it because
Oh
you just
yeah,
were
that's
talking.
right. Yeah. Basically, I can look at how much I've talked and how much she's talked, but I haven't been able to talk a lot, and so I'm just like, ugh. And then I thought it would be funny to do it while I sound shitty, because if we film in like 2 weeks from now and I sound normal, that's not funny.
Right. We had a really hard time starting this episode.
Oh,
I hope
yeah.
you keep some of it
I'm
in.
gonna
'Cause
keep
we
a
were,
lot of it because that shit.
Oh my gosh.
It was so funny. We're just trying to start talking, and I sound so crazy. I sound like Forrest Gump.
Well, I just did a cute makeup moment, woke up, got ready, and then as soon as we sat down to film and we just were fucking laughing, I'm like literally like, I'm using, if you know me, this is a cardinal sin. I'm using a paper fucking towel
Yeah.
to dab my tears off of my face because I'm laughing so fucking hard.
I have lotion Kleenex, which I normally don't care about, but since I've been recovering from surgery, I've been using a lot of like tissues and
The
stuff.
puffs.
Yeah, that shit is so good. I highly recommend. This is not sponsored. But like I went to use a regular one and I was like, what is this fucking sandpaper? I was like, I need the lotion mixed in.
Oh, shit.
um
All right, guys. We'll
yeah,
see you next
see you next week.
Oh, do you have to clap?
Oh yes. Ooh.
That was a good one.